everyone. Let me introduce Caroline Pothet as the first speaker. Caroline, come on stage from, wherever you want. Wherever you want. Perhaps you go to this side that you can see the slides, exactly. So Caroline is the freshly appointed head of Haematology and ATMP, so right in our subject at EMA. She's also reporting and giving us insights on oncology, so covering the whole subject. In the end, the talk is a little bit what's coming down the road, essentially from an EMA perspective. And Caroline, a background in pharmacy, and then many years in the academic and regulatory and also industry environment, so knows it from various perspectives, the whole, let's say, subject that we're dealing with. Thanks so much for being with us, and the floor is yours.
Thank you for the great introduction and the invitation to come to this event and actually almost open the discussion. Do I have to tell you when to move a slide, or shall I?
I can do it, yes.
Okay, thanks. So yes, as Jörg just explained, I'm actually the newly appointed head of Advanced Therapies and Hematological Diseases, and I work for the agency since 2020. So what I'm going to present to you today is 3 components, I guess, for this introduction. First one. Okay, can you hear me? Is it better now? Oh yes, I can hear it myself. So I'm going to present, to give you an overview of 3 components. The first one will be what we do at the agency to prepare and for the upcoming portfolios and capacity building. The second one, I will be sharing some of the initiatives we are doing to actually support the evidence generation, especially in Haemato-Oncology. And then the third one will be focusing on a portfolio within the possibility I have, I guess, to share some of the information that we do hold at agency. So, and I have no conflict of interest. So we heard during the introduction that actually Haemato-Oncology, it's really the momentum around medical innovation. That's certainly true and can be backed up by a number of data. And in fact, last year, this was really the major therapeutic area with 23 out of 89 positive opinions given by the CHMP were in the area of oncology. Now we have to be quite knowledgeable that it's not the end, and there's still a very strong unmet need in oncology. And actually looking at Europe, I was surfing for some statistics, and actually a quarter of cancer cases are in Europe, where actually you all know that Europe only represents 10% of the global population. And then I have put some figures where in 2020, 2.7 million of citizens actually were diagnosed with cancer, and half unfortunately lost their lives to cancer. And what we are seeing is actually that despite a number of therapeutics being available, this is actually this continue to increase, and we expect that by 2035 this might be the leading cause of death if we don't do better than now. And on the right you have actually the products that were approved. So this is really to showcase that the agency has been committing to beating cancer for the last few years, and that's transparent in a number of initiatives and document that where we have the objectives. And I've actually highlighted 3 components of that. So first, during COVID, there were a lot of measures put in place to accelerate the development of products against COVID. And now we have learned from those, and we are going to use oncology as a pathfinder to actually make even more in terms of using acceleration potential to increase the evidence generation and so forth. The second one is really the agency is trying to find avenues to continue to support the integration of scientific development into this medical innovation. And that's being done in a number of ways, whether it's guidelines, but also whether it's scientific advice, qualification of novel methodologies, and so forth. And then the third one, I guess this fight against cancer can only really work if we all work together. And we heard around the necessity of good evidence generation, and that can only happen through multi-stakeholder engagement and interaction between all of the different components of drug development, including obviously HTA bodies and regulators. So first, what we do at the agency in terms of preparing for the future, we have meetings with stakeholders, whether it's academia or industry, and we call them business pipeline meetings. This is an opportunity for developers to bring an overview of their portfolio, but also to raise issues they may have in developing these products. And we do learn a lot from these meetings. We also run regular surveys twice a year to understand upcoming submissions. However, there are a bit of shortcomings with both of these initiatives, and what happened is we really need to improve forecasts. So I will share some of the figures in terms of what we expect to see in a couple of next years, I guess, in terms of submissions. But that's true that the data are far from being exact, and we do see a lot of difficulties in actually knowing exactly how many and which products are going to come in the next few months and year to come. So we are doing some things to address that, especially working with industry. So we have created an industry focus group on predictability of submissions. Next slide, please. So more into the second component, which is improving the evidence generation. You will all know, and far better than me, that the agency and HTA bodies have been working hand in hand in terms of trying to prepare, I guess, for the HTA regulation that will give that remit to have this a number of touch points between HTA bodies in Europe, but also some of the touch points with regulators. And the joint scientific consultation will actually be implemented as of 2025 for oncology and ATMPs, and then building up to orphan drugs a couple of years later, and then full scope from 2030. And within the period when we have UNETA 21 task force finishing and that in full implementation, then it's good to know that we were able in partnership to introduce a parallel EMA HTA body scientific advice. I have put a link there in terms of the guidance, but pretty much the criteria follow the same as the HTA regulation. Oncology and ATMP are clearly in scope there, especially when there are no guidance available or no prior HTA assessment that have been done. We're looking at products for unmet needs, and actually one prerequisite for industry is to ensure that when requesting such parallel advice is that the pivotal studies has not started. Yeah, thank you. So the collaboration between HTA bodies and the agency doesn't actually stop with joint scientific consultation. There have been a number of initiatives that are all available in a very detailed plan or report, I guess, on those last couple of years. But we'll only mention a few more around the exchange, around the challenge that both sides, regulators and HT, have been facing in terms of looking at product assessment. They've been also working collaboratively to implement trainings for healthcare professionals and patients to ensure they can act as efficiently as possible in regulatory processes. And also we've been hearing what are the needs of the HTA bodies and try to improve the way the public assessment reports are written, including information on why intended population or indication was used, the choice of endpoint, whether or not indirect comparison were justified for a number of assessments. We are also doing a number of pilot studies in the area of real-world evidence, and I actually liaise with my colleagues, and there are already one ongoing around multiple myeloma, which is available on the NCEP repository, and there is one upcoming in non-small cell lung cancer. And then, of course, it doesn't end this. There are also other multi-stakeholder platform collaboration. I will mention Accelerate, which I was able to join recently, which is looking at really unmet need pediatric indications, both in the area of oncology and also cell and gene therapies, and that involves international partners as well. And then we are, in terms of the patient's involvement, that was again mentioned in the introduction, we are actually collaborating with the FDA, and soon there will be a conversation on cancer discussion involving patients from both sides of the Atlantics. Now, moving on to the last topic of my short presentation is the highlights for 2023, 2025. First, a bit of to take with a pinch of salt, I guess, the number of oncology new product application. I looked at the expected pipeline based on the discussion we have with future applicants. We're looking at 50 in 2024, 30 in 2025. I think if we get half of them, that would be quite good. But interestingly, what I've been seeing is that there is a trend towards more ATMPs in the area of oncology, including in solid tumors. So really, when you look at the pipelines, including for clinical trials, there is an increase in rare disease and solid tumors. And there also, from a prime point of view, that actually, I was looking at the latest figures, and there are about 18 prime in oncology and 12 are in ATMPs. For the extension of indication, impressive numbers, 90 expected or planned in 24-25. Again, I probably would look at half of them to come. Now, I would say the agency is really making an effort in terms of transparency, so all of the new products are approved or given an opinion, and that include when they are negative, are available on the EMA website. And I've listed here a couple of very recent positive opinions that I wanted to highlight for several reasons, but I would actually mention Finlay dabrafenib in combination with trametinib. That's a product that has been around for quite a while around in terms of BRAF, addressing BRAF mutations, and now it's going to be available for the treatment of low and grade glioma, where there is really a very strong unmet need. The other two, just to mention that when you look, you are getting more and more products targeted towards specific biomarkers. Next slide, please. What I was thinking I could share actually is prime designation are actually available on the EMA website. So I quote here those that we expect to see in the near future. And the first one is actually one which is developed by academia, by Hospital Clinic of Barcelona, which is for the treatment of AL. And they are in prime, and they are also in academic ATMP support pilot that the agency launched last year. And then the three other are also expected to come either next year or the year after, depending of course on the completion of the clinical trials. And if you look, actually, unlike what I've said, it's kind of moving towards solid tumors. Three of them are in Haemato-Oncology, but two of those primes are in ATMP. So again, a clear reflection that ATMPs are here to stay. And next slide, please. Now, I was reflecting on what we expect to see in the future, and whether or not we might see more of these histology-independent indications. It's true we have seen actually in the last few years 3 of them at least with additional indication, especially for pembrolizumab. Now, when you look at the clinical trials, you have a mix of the type of products that are coming, less unspecified targeted products, more into multiple targeted products like bispecific antibodies and anti-drug conjugates as well. And it's true that we also expect to see more especially in the rare tumors, more personalized medicine towards, especially when the tumor share the same biomarker, which can actually complicate, obviously, the development, and not only the development, but also the assessment. And if you look at on the right bottom and corner, this is one of the studies that was used to develop Finlay in glioma. And as you can see, it's a platform trial, and we do expect those to come with all the challenge that they bring. And I think that's almost concluding my presentation. So what I've tried to demonstrate is certainly Haemato-Oncology is at the forefront of medical innovation. We do see a lot of products, and we expect to see continuously more. ATMPs actually are expected to really increase. We are also starting to see combination of mRNAs and immunotherapy products for solid tumors. And then more and more agnostic cancer agents and also bispecific antibodies. And again, that's why the agencies will be committed to continue this fight by keeping up the innovation, by talking to all of the stakeholders and working together, including in developing methodology guidance to make sure we do have products that come with a relevant evidence generation for approval. And that's my last slide. And I think on the last slide, actually, I have a number of people, or maybe not, that I wanted to thank that contributed to the development of this slide set. Thank you.